remember more than 6 things. And so these are going to be your 6 here. And I'm kind of walking around here because some of you are behind the case, and I don't want you to always be there. So if I move around, it's everybody gets a good look here. Rule number 1. Original art is always better than a poster.
Here, here.
You just have to get it in your mind that even bad original art is better than a poster. And you would be astonished by the number of very, very fine homes we go into of very wealthy people who have framed posters, the frame costing far more than the poster, and neither of them having great value. So, original art is better than a poster. That's rule number 1. Rule number 2. You don't have to be rich to collect art. Okay? There is all kinds of art out there. There's all kinds of prices. There's outsider art. There's insider art. There's this, there's that. So you don't have to be rich. You just have to be attentive and interested. And you can, get to know people. There's student art. We've bought lovely things from student art shows where people are, wonderful things from very, very reasonable prices. So you don't have to be rich. Because, in the high-end scale, you think you have to be a millionaire to buy this or that. Now, some of these things are more costly than others, obviously, but we didn't start there. You start by just being interested, by interested and attentive and learning about people and learning about styles and learning about whatever. So that's rule number 2. You don't have to be rich. Rule number 3, never buy art as a financial investment. Sometimes you luck out and all that. Art is a human investment. It's an investment in your happiness. It's an investment in the happiness of the artist and the cultivation of the artist. It is not a financial thing. If you think of it in terms of financial thing, you better go to the stock market. Because there you can invest as much as you want, and you'll probably lose it, as quickly, if not more so. So you've got to be happy with what you have around you. So you don't, sometimes, there was a very wealthy doctor in our area, and all he had was Picasso and Matisse prints. And I never saw any of them. But, he bought those things because someone told him they were going to be an investment. And not because of personal pleasure, I never saw him buy a single work of art in our area from anyone. In fact, I never saw him in any shows. But he was on the board of the museum. Well, just as a side note on that, I won't tell you who the guy was, but the director of the museum at the time, he did have this very wonderful collection, and then he retired and he left the area, and I told the director at the time, well, I guess he left his collection with you. And he said, no, we didn't get a single thing. And by the way, he was on the board 10 years and never had anything but a membership. So don't buy it as a financial investment. It's a social investment. It's an investment in your life. It's an investment in the artist's life. It's an investment in your community. That's what it's all about. Okay, now there's many philosophies on collecting. This one is, not everybody is here, and Mr. Kiefer's here, and he probably disagrees with this, but we don't buy anything from dead artists. Okay? Some of the artists,
you have to address that.
Some of the artists that we have bought things from have died. Okay? But that was, chance. But we don't. We like to know the artist. We like to meet the artist. We like to have interaction. It's not always the case, and we'll talk about some of them where we have had interactions and some where we haven't. But, that's part of the deal. That's part of the exchange, not just of money and goods, but my wife is going to cringe. but social capital. You are building social capital. And that's what part of collecting anything is all about. Okay. And it's hard to collect social capital from dead people. That's, it's just hard. So, we don't buy things from dead artists. And all these people in here are living. I don't think anyone here has died yet. No. Okay. Now, number 5. So that was number 4. Number 5 is there's no one gold standard for art. Okay, people especially people who are not familiar with the world of art, they get it in their mind that, it has to be this or it has to be that. But, in all of this sort of exploration of art, there's 2 common elements, and they're on opposite ends of the spectrum. And one's passion, way down here, and the other is technique over here. And you can have works that are like the corner work over there, the David Baum, that are just almost pure passion. There is some technique there, but it's almost pure passion. It's right, there's guts right on the thing there. Okay? So you have a lot of passion, not so much technique. And then you have, on the other scale, you have something like the Stricklands that are wonderfully technically proficient. Now, they also contain passion, too, in my opinion. But you also have artists like Kincaid, Master of Light. If some of you have some of his works, please don't get angry at me. But for me, that's the other end of the spectrum, which is technique without passion. So, all along that spectrum, you're going to find some combinations of those that are sort of magical. And when they have those magical combinations of technique and passion, it's just wonderful. And it's something you can have around you, and it's a gift that keeps on giving. But there's no one thing. Looking around you here, these are very, very different kinds of works, and very different technical levels, and very different media, but they're all wonderful. They're all magical. They all have their little magic, and they make our lives happier and better. Okay, now the last one, point number 6, is probably the most controversial, at least for my wife. When your house is full, don't stop buying. Okay? Yes. Because, everybody lives in a finite space. And when you fill up that space with those things that you think are, like the most wonderful works in the world, and you want your friends over and everybody to see them, and then you go to the show and you see this just great thing that, my wife says, where are you going to put it? And I say, I don't care. So we'll end up, and we'll get it, and we'll figure something out. So we have probably, in our house, we probably have double or triple this amount, and we have probably 50 or 100 pieces that are just in storage in our house. And what happens is your tastes change, your income changes, and some pieces that you just loved at some time in your life, after a while, you can learn to live without them. So so you take one down, you put a new one up, and then your income changes and what you can buy changes, and all that changes. And then the other thing is when you fill your house up, there's always somebody who's going to want those things, which is usually your local museum. So you want to have things that are good enough that when you croak or when whatever happens, you can give your things to the museum and without de-accessioning the whole mess. They'll say, we want, these things because they represent, something in a time and, something place, and there's just something important about it. So those are the 6 rules of, the principles of our collection. And if Mr. Kiefer gave his talk, it would be entirely different.
No, I agree with you all the way along, except for the dead business.
There's some similarities.